Hi, everyone. It's Jana Danielson from Lead Pilates, Lead Integrated Health Therapies, the Meta District, and Cooch and Gooch Ball back here with you again for our next session, which is all about measuring business success. Um, Key performance indicators, I'm sure you're all familiar with them. I'm going to show up as my authentic self. So I have to admit that I am an entrepreneur who does not love numbers. Nope, nope, not at all. I would rather, if I could base my business and its success on how I feel or how it makes others feel, I would go there all day long. The reality is, we have to, we do have to notice our bottom line. We have to be able to invest properly in certain parts of our business and make sure they are performing to meet our goals. I mean, at the end of the day, we've been called to become entrepreneurs, which is very different than other callings in professions, right? I always thought that I would be the first female VP of like an HR function. That's what my initial goal was when I was coming out of my undergraduate and graduate degree, and quickly, reconnected with the fact that I grew up in an entrepreneurial environment. And so I just want to let you know that maybe you are, maybe you share that value that you would do what you do for free. However, part of the reason we chose to become an entrepreneur is for time freedom and financial freedom, I would suggest. And so we need to be able to measure our performance so we can make good business decisions, so we can continue to impact, grow our vision, find people that are like-minded to join us in our entrepreneurial journey, and leave a legacy. So I'm here today to share a little bit of information around how I use, I call it my dashboard. So if you think of, not that I'm a pilot at all, and in fact, I don't like turbulence, so I could never be a pilot or a flight attendant, but a pilot has to use the instruments, the information on their, is it called the dashboard of a plane? I don't even know. On their dashboard to be able to get you from point A to point B. All right. We know that sometimes they are flying through turbulence, landing in heavy wind or fog or rain, and the information that they need to make good decisions to get us safely on the ground is right in front of them. And so I use that as my visualization when I am, looking at my monthly key performance indicators. I have some that I look at weekly, some that I look at monthly, some that I look at quarterly, and obviously comparing, year over year. So in my business, we run two different software systems simply because they don't serve the entirety of the business properly. All right. So within our software systems, we have the ability, like I'm sure you do, to sort all kinds of data, right? Now, first things first, you know that garbage in equals garbage out. So you want to make sure you've got good information going in, depending, if is it you or do you have a team that supports you? For example, we have people's confidential health information, right? I run an integrated health therapies clinic. So we have to follow HIPAA regulations. Obviously, one of my team members puts in a wrong digit in a health card or a credit card, right? And that's what I mean, garbage in, garbage out. So we spend a lot of time in our training of new staff who are involved with data entry, helping them understand how their role fits into the big picture. because those people that are supporting your business, that are, earning their living by supporting your business, aren't taking the attention to detail to the degree it needs to, then it's really challenging to make business decisions. All right. So I'm going to give you another example. The software that we use on the movement therapy side for private sessions and small groups, if I have instructors who are not checking in their client, all right, my payroll system is assigned to that information. So if that information is not inputted properly, that can create a payroll issue. And it's way more of a pain in the butt to go back and fix it after than it is to just have it right to begin with. Okay. So that's the first thing I wanted to mention, is that when you're using numbers to make business decisions, you have to be confident those numbers are right. And so spending the time with either your managers, or if you're doing a lot of the training, again, just to paint those employees or members of your team the picture of how important their job is to a lot of the other processes, especially the decision making that you have to do as the entrepreneur. Okay. So for me, my dashboard on a weekly basis, I'll go into both software systems and I'll do a quick, I'll just do a quick look at sales. All right. How are we doing? How did we do this week? Right. And sometimes I even have like apps on my phone that from my software systems, and I can look on a day-to-day basis how we've been doing. I mean, I try not to obsess on that too much. But definitely it's nice to see when the numbers are growing. The other thing that I do within the business is I pay really close attention to the room utilization. Okay. So if I'm looking at my massage rooms, okay, we have 8 massage rooms, and most of them are shared by 2 practitioners. So those rooms are generating revenue Monday to Thursday, 12 hours a day, Friday, 10 hours, and Saturday, 4 hours. So I actually use that information to help me get confidence and clarity around when it's time to add another member to the team. Okay. So when I see that utilization is around 80 to 85%, I know that if I needed a massage tomorrow and I called, I probably couldn't get in tomorrow, and I'd probably have to wait 3 or 4 days. And for some people that aren't in the habit of booking their next massage when they finish the one they just had, they may pick up the phone and go elsewhere. So I want to make sure that when I see those numbers being consistent, that I start to get a recruitment strategy in place. Sometimes it might just be someone dropping off a resume that I connect with and take them through the process. It might mean putting an ad out. It might mean just connecting with my current team, letting them know that we're ready to grow in a certain area. And do they know of anybody that would be, that is a massage therapist that is looking for an environment like ours? I find that when it comes to growing a team, I don't worry at all about friends of friends, like nothing of that, because I've had nothing but positive experiences. I find that if someone knows what it's like to work within your vision and leadership, and they have a friend who they feel would excel, then, and in fact, most times I actually, if that person is a great fit, once they've hit the end of their 3 months, I do like a little finder's fee bonus for the staff member that referred them, just as a thank you, right? Because it takes time to recruit. And when you have someone that's referred to you, and you have a current member of your team who is willing to put their, kind of their reputation on the line for recommending this person, I do take that really seriously. So looking at utilization in an industry like ours is really important, because that's how we can build with confidence and not have clinicians, twiddling their thumbs because we don't have the traffic to drive into their treatment rooms, basically. All right. Monthly, I will look again at both sets of information, and I might do a quick comparison, October of 2020 compared to October of 2021, and just look and see if I can see any trends. Because I don't know about you guys, but for the past 18 months, I haven't actually been able to use a lot of historical business data to make business decisions because we're operating in such a different environment. So now, I mean, so many gifts of COVID. Now that we've had 18 months of this environment, I feel like I can actually go back to last fall, look and see what was going on, compare it to this fall, and start to get some trends going. Because to compare the fall of 2019, it's just you're now comparing apples to oranges, and you might not make a great business decision because the numbers are not congruent, basically. Okay, so I look at those sales every quarter. I have my bookkeeper, obviously we file GST and PST every 90 days. And so I get a good snapshot of how we did that quarter. I'll always take a quick look back to the quarter before. And now this year, I'll look back to the same quarter last year. I won't go back to 2019 because sometimes it just makes me super sad to look at those numbers. So I don't put myself through that. That's the beauty of being in control. You just pretend they don't exist. Or you acknowledge that they exist and you miss them, but then you're just like, I'm here right now, and this is what where I have to be building my business. The other thing that we've started doing, which is really cool, and don't ask me how, because I don't do this, but my bookkeeper does it, is she creates what she calls pivot tables. And it's almost a way for us to scenario plan a little bit. So she'll take the current quarter, and we can play around with what would happen, if we added another therapist here. What would happen to the numbers? What would happen if I could grow utilization, let's say in our physiotherapy pod, by 7%? What would that do, right? And it's really cool because then it gives me those tangible, like, oh, if I grow those 4 rooms by 7% over the next 90 days, look at what that yields me. Or, oh, you know what? I have an itchy nose all of a sudden. What do they say? You're going to kiss a fool? My husband's almost due to be home. So maybe that's what's going on. It also helps me to look and see, okay, we are seeing less utilization in this pod of the clinic, or, we've seen private sessions decrease by this much. We now have this inventory. Okay, now maybe I should be planning a marketing strategy around private sessions. Or maybe we should do a blog series around a specific type of massage that, my therapists that need to grow their business have expertise in. So those numbers, yes, they serve me as far as indicating performance, but I really try and use them in so many other different ways. And then I can pull in like my studio manager or my clinic manager, and I can share different aspects of those numbers with them. So now they become a part of, the process to setting some tangible goals for the next quarter, the next year, whatever, the next 6 months. And then it's not just me driving that key performance indicator bus. Okay. I do want to say that in my business, I do not drive my team by closing sales. What we do is sales all day long, right? We sell treatments, we sell movement experiences, we sell retail, we sell solutions, body, health, wellness solutions. But the sale comes through the education. And that's the way I look at it. So if I've got certain goals, financial goals, growth goals around expansion, growth, I want to make sure that every single person who needs to touch the cloth along the way to support that goal has clarity on what the goal is, first of all, how it's going to be measured, and what that means. Okay. Kind of like what I said earlier in this session with you is that, data in or garbage in is garbage out. It's kind of that same, especially when you start to scale to a point where you do have different people, or maybe what I mean to say is multiple people working within a similar role. So like for me, I've got an admin group that they all share a function, right? They don't have specifically, this is my job, this is her job. They share the scope of a job, and one might do it from 7:30 in the morning to 2:30 in the afternoon, and the other person might come in at 2 and do it until 8:30 at night. So everyone needs to really understand. It's kind of like that saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link. That's basically what it is. I like to make now I think this was in the first session that we did together where I talked about my spring and fall State of the Union. And I like to bring purposeful goals into the group to work together on when it's appropriate. The other piece in all of this is that if you're going to bring people in and make them a part of something, you are asking them to put this goal on their radar and every day consistently show up. So their behaviors, their education, I shared in the first session, our why is to educate, inspire, and move. And so if I know that my team are doing those three things with every interaction, and they help to achieve a specific goal or key performance indicator, I'm going to acknowledge that, and I want to acknowledge that, right? It could be something as simple as we use Slack as an internal communication, like messaging system. So I don't expect my team to give me access to their personal texting at all, right? That's for their friends, that's for their family, that's not for work. So we do use Slack. The beauty of Slack is that people can turn their notifications off and on. And we can communicate that way, which is a little bit different than email. Of course, just like texting, right? You don't want to send like a big 3-paragraph email in a Slack, but something really quick. And so we've got Slack channels. We have one that's a hashtag Rockstar Moments. So what we've done is anytime you notice someone working towards a certain goal, whether it's a customer service goal, because not all goals, you guys, are quantitative, right? Remember early on in the session, I was like, oh, if I could just do all qualitative KPIs, I would be in entrepreneur heaven, right? There has to be a mix, but I need you to understand that the qualitative information and experiences you're giving people are just as important as those goals, the quantitative ones that you can physically look at, tangibly look at, and make decisions on. So we use Slack. Rockstar Moments is the hashtag, and everyone every day just acknowledges, and it's really cool because it's become a part of our culture. It's really motivating, and it is awesome to acknowledge people doing great things. And sometimes our days can be so busy that we, as the provider of the service in that moment, might just not even recognize it. But to have someone see it and make a point of it, and then everybody comments on it and gives fun little emojis, so that's always really, really fun. We also have a Slack channel that we call Power of Three. One of my key performance indicators for my team, and again, this fits in beautifully to our business model because we have an integrated business model. There are very, 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 very few clients and patients of ours who just come to lead for one thing. It might start like that, But the goal of the business model and the educate, inspire, and move is to have them maybe start with their chiropractor, who then starts to create some change in their body. And then they become to know, like, and trust that person. And that person then says, you really would benefit from myofascial massage. I think you should book in with Bree and do a myofascial massage before you come back in 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden the wheel starts spinning, and then Bree might recommend someone to do a private session with block therapy, because we know the benefits of how those two modalities work together. Okay. So in our Power of 3 Slack channel, what I'm asking our team to do is during their week, find 3 opportunities to showcase someone else on the team that person, that client, or that patient would benefit from seeing. Okay. This is not meant to be like a quota where they have to have, 12 Power of 3s in a month, or, the top 5%, we send them packing. Like it's nothing like that. But what it does is it creates this momentum, because now I'm not just a solopreneur anymore. When you think about the 50 people on my team, if each of them really focused on their 3 moments in a week to refer to another clinician, or maybe we're doing a special educational workshop, we do those every month. It might be an event that we're putting on, or a special master class. When you can have that information front of mind, you better believe that those qualitative indicators of performance show themselves down the line as quantitative performance outcomes. They have to, right? Because when you start impacting more people, or you impact, growth happens one of 2 ways. Okay. You either take the group of people you're serving and you serve them more and more and more and more, so they're paying more and more and more and more, or you allow new people in. Okay. In our business, it's like 2 faucets on at the same time. We want to, when it's appropriate, we don't just, it's not just, like I said, those quotas. When it's appropriate, we want to give our clients and patients opportunities for deeper dives into their health and wellness. Once their back pain has gone away, maybe it's time to start looking at your nutrition or at your mental health, or maybe it's time to see a naturopathic doctor and really start taking care of your whole body from the inside out. So that's what I mean by the Power of 3, because if I have in a week, let's say 80% of my team completes their Power of 3, that's 40 people, that's 120 moments. And we use that word a lot in our business, moments. 120 moments that week that were purposefully curated with the intention of improving that client's experience with us, which, like I said, down the road improves our bottom line. So the dashboards that have become, they ebb and they flow for me. So there's those sometimes daily, but mostly weekly. And then there's the monthly. And then, of course, there's the quarterly with some of the pivot table strategy. And then there's the year end, right? It's always such a flurry of activity to get all those documents in order for your yearly financials, and just looking year over year to see, where is the growth? Where is the opportunity? Was there an area that didn't perform like you thought it would, should, could? And what are you going to do with that? Because I've found in my business, using these numbers will allow you to make the business decisions to decide what are you going to keep doing and what are you going to stop doing. Because if you don't also acknowledge what you should be not doing, you're going to end up with, just because I work with the body, you're going to end up with asymmetries in your business. And yes, do I understand that there's cycles in business? 100%. Things are going to ebb and flow. Yes, 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 all of that. But if it's now, the fifth or sixth time that you're seeing a little decline, or you saw a little upswing in a revenue, center, and then it's gone back down and it's stayed and it's gone back down and there's a little bit of an upswing, it's probably going to give you more confidence as an entrepreneur to make some, decisions around that part of the business, because then you free up some space in your central processing unit and in your heart and soul too. I think I just had a situation last week where I realized I was gripping a death grip on this one goal. It was a number goal. And I was holding on to that goal so tight for so long that when I realized that goal was actually being driven by my ego, when I realized that, I was able to let my death grip on that goal go. And it took me less than 24 hours to realize that I needed to let go, let go of that part of the business. I had such calmness and clarity about me when I was sharing it with my husband. I'm like, this is what I'm doing. And he's like, well, and I went right through my plan. It goes like this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and that's the outcome. And then I'm going to have more time to freed up to do all of these things. And it just felt really good. Really good. So I had one of my business coaches say this to me. It's not magic, it's math. And I love that because she completely reframed the qualitative blockages that I had with, that sun is on me again, you guys. The quantitative blockages that I had with numbers. Okay. It's not magic, it's math. And sometimes those numbers make your stomach turn. Sometimes they make tears roll down your face. Sometimes they create so much joy because you were right. What you thought was what happened, or maybe what you thought was not what happened. And look at the result of the little bit of a pivot. All right. So we're going to be able to discuss this more in our live Q&A sessions. I hope I provided you with a little bit of insight on how a non-numerical entrepreneur makes numbers and key performance indicators work for her. I used to talk about my love-hate relationship with numbers. And like I said, since my business coach shared that it's not magic, it's math, it changed something for me. So again, I hope there's one or two little nuggets that you can take out of today's session. And I look forward to seeing you on Zoom in a couple of weeks. Have a great rest of your day.